Welcome to our LeadingAge Florida monthly recap for the months of November and December. This month, we're going to be taking a look back at 2019 and doing just a bit of a year in review. This year's legislative session demanded the most of the LeadingAge Florida team, and I'm proud of our staff for the work they did in meeting those challenges head on. For the third year in a row, LeadingAge Florida worked to get sensible reforms to the CCRC regulatory framework passed through the legislature. It was a long, challenging effort, but this year in 2019, in partnership with our friends at the Florida Life Care Residents Association, we managed to get the bill across the finish line. It does a number of important things for CCRCs in Florida. Most importantly, it enhances resident protections, it strengthens the OIR's oversight of poor-performing CCRCs, and importantly for our members, it includes some business-friendly incentives for high-performing providers. It seems a legislative session never goes by without some discussion of the Certificate of Need for nursing homes and for hospitals, and 2019 was no different. Legislators took aim at Certificate of Need and ultimately repealed it in many cases for hospitals, but LeadingAge Florida was successful in protecting that important regulatory component for our nursing homes. The provision of the highest possible quality care is LeadingAge Florida's #1 priority. And in 2019, we worked hard to protect the statutory required staffing levels for nurses and CNAs in Florida nursing homes. We helped defeat a bill that would have effectively reduced those staffing standards. And in the process, LeadingAge Florida became a founding member of the Coalition for Silver Solutions. As you know, the Sadowski Housing Trust Fund is a critically important funding vehicle for affordable housing all across Florida and for all demographics, including for seniors. In 2019, the governor and the Senate recommended full funding for the Sadowski Trust. LeadingAge Florida fought hard to protect that funding in spite of the legislature's ultimate decision to sweep hundreds of millions of dollars out of that account. We also supported a number of bills that would have required accountability when those dollars are swept, and we're going to fight that fight again in 2020. Also in 2019, LeadingAge Florida made a number of critical additions to your team here in Tallahassee. In February, Nick Vanderlinden joined our team as our Director of Communications. He came to us from the Department of Health with a background in senior living issues and other health-related matters, and he got to work right away, expanding our social media footprint, creating new channels for us to communicate with our members, and he's presided over the launch of our new magazine, Senior Living. The first edition will ship in January, and we hope you enjoy it. This fall, we also hired Tyler Sununu, our new Director of Nursing Home Public Policy. Tyler came to us from Westminster Oaks, right here in Tallahassee, after nearly a decade of experience as a nursing home administrator. And he instantly improved our team, digging into regulatory issues at the federal and state level, and really helping drive the conversation about changes that must be made to the prospective payment system to help protect Florida's highest performing nursing homes. We also added Susan Anderson to our team as our new Director of Assisted Living Public Policy. Susan came to us with years of assisted living regulatory and legislative experience. Most recently, she worked in the State Ombudsman's Office, and for the last 4 years has worked exclusively on developing assisted living public policy. Also a tremendous addition to our team, Susan jumped right in and began working on an assisted living modernization bill, which is up for consideration in the 2020 session, and she'll be driving our public policy agenda into the future for all of our assisted living members. When 2019 began, we weren't sure at all that we were going to be able to top the performance of the LeadingAge Florida Convention in 2018, but we did. In 2019, our convention was the biggest ever, with more than 400 folks registered, a completely full exhibit hall, and a number of networking and educational opportunities for our members. We're looking to raise the bar again in 2020 when we're back in Orlando at the Gaylord Palms Resort. Forecasters predicted a minimal hurricane season for 2019, and while they were largely correct, LeadingAge Florida did help our members deal with Hurricane Durian, a Category 5 storm with sustained winds of 185 miles an hour. Now, while the storm didn't ultimately end up doing a lot of damage on land in Florida, that didn't mean LeadingAge Florida wasn't in action, helping make sure our members were prepared for what was to come and making sure they had everything they needed to deal with the storm during and after. LeadingAge once again led the way in ensuring that our members were prepared, fully compliant, and in working with the state agencies to ensure that you had what you needed before, during, and after the storm. 2019 was a banner year for LeadingAge Florida and for our members all across the state. But now we turn our attention to 2020. We'll be focusing on growing our association in 2020, expanding our ability to serve senior living providers all across the state, and expanding our influence with regulators and with legislators. We'll also continue our important work in 2020 in developing a long-term, comprehensive plan for senior living across the state of Florida. We'll do it as a member of the Coalition for Silver Solutions, and we'll also do it as the leading advocate for high-quality senior living. In conjunction with our growth plans for 2020, we'll be enhancing our assisted living training throughout the year and with specific tracks at the convention. And we'll also be working on opportunities to provide education for other elements of your member communities. We're working on finance opportunities, human resources, facilities and maintenance education programming as well. Look for an even more robust LeadingAge Florida educational calendar coming in 2020. As we wrap up 2019, it's important for us to recognize that the strength of our association is built on the strength and engagement of our members all across the state. So we want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the LeadingAge Florida members who helped pursue our policy objectives, who suggested and participated in our educational opportunities, and who provided the stories that made our communication channels so robust. Thank you for your membership and for your engagement in LeadingAge Florida. We look forward to working with you again in 2020. Thank you again for joining us.